The sky over Zithera glimmered in shades of violet and gold, with two suns casting long shadows across the floating city of Lumeris. The city hung like a jewel above the bioluminescent forests, and the hum of energy cores echoed faintly beneath the metal walkways. Humans had only recently settled this distant planet, and their presence was still a novelty to the native inhabitants. Among them was Ethan, a human engineer who had arrived just weeks ago, assigned to assist with the colony's experimental energy systems. Ethan walked along the narrow bridge connecting two platforms, carrying a toolkit that looked far too small for the work he was expected to do. Despite the elegance of Zithera's structures, the floating city had its flaws. Energy fluctuations had caused malfunctions in some of the older cores, and the colony leaders had requested human assistance. Humans were valued here for their ingenuity and adaptability, qualities the aliens often found unpredictable, but intriguing. As he approached the outer platform, Ethan noticed movement among the glowing trees below. Something was watching him. He squinted, but the dense foliage hid most shapes. A figure stepped from the shadows, tall, slender, and unlike anything human. Her skin shimmered faintly under the light, as if the color of her body changed with every heartbeat. Her eyes, large and bright, reflected curiosity and intelligence. Lyra, a scientist from the Zitheran research outpost, observed the human quietly. She had heard of him. Humans were rare in this part of the forest, and their methods of problem-solving were unconventional. He moved with confidence, carrying tools in ways she hadn't seen any other human do, and she found herself intrigued. Most Zitherans preferred theory over practice, relying on precise calculations rather than hands-on tinkering. Yet here was a human improvising and experimenting, seemingly without fear of failure. Ethan finally looked up, sensing a presence. Their eyes met, and for a moment the world seemed to hold its breath. He frowned slightly, unsure whether he should speak. Lyra, noticing his hesitation, gave a small nod and stepped closer, moving silently like a shadow among the glowing plants. "Need some help?" she asked, her voice soft but firm. Ethan blinked, startled by her clear speech. He had expected gestures, symbols, or even some alien form of communication, but not words. Maybe," he replied, trying to mask his surprise. "I'm trying to stabilize the core, but the readings are strange." Lyra tilted her head, studying the core from a distance. "Your approach is different from ours," she observed. "Humans tend to improvise, don't they? It's fascinating." Ethan couldn't help but smile. "I guess you could say that. Sometimes you learn more by trying than by theorizing." For the next several hours, they worked together in silence, broken only by the occasional instruction or comment. Ethan's hands moved quickly, adjusting wires, recalibrating sensors, and using his own intuitive understanding of energy flow. Lyra watched carefully, occasionally reaching in to correct his placement or suggest a more efficient connection. At one point, a surge from the core caused sparks to fly. Ethan leaped back instinctively, shielding his face, while Lyra stepped forward with remarkable speed to stabilize the system. Her hands moved with precision, and within moments, the core's hum returned to its steady rhythm. "You're not bad at this," Lyra said, her eyes reflecting a hint of amusement. "Thanks," Ethan replied, still catching his breath. "I've had some practice." She studied him quietly, noticing how he remained calm under pressure, how his mind seemed to anticipate problems before they arose. "Humans are resilient," she said softly. "Most would have panicked, yet you adapted immediately." Ethan shrugged, though he felt a flush of pride. "I just try to figure out what makes sense. Panic doesn't help anyone." Lyra nodded, and a small smile curved her lips. "Perhaps we can learn from each other." Your intuition, combined with our precision, might solve problems faster than either of us alone." The evening deepened, and the suns dipped lower, casting a golden glow across the forest. Bioluminescent plants began to light up in response, bathing the city in soft blues and greens. Ethan glanced around, marveling at the alien beauty. "It's incredible," he said quietly. "I've seen a lot of stars in my life, but nothing like this." Lyra's gaze followed his, and for the first time, she allowed herself a moment of admiration for human curiosity. "You notice details we often overlook," she said. "Your perspective is refreshing." Ethan chuckled. "I get that a lot." Then, noticing her studying him, he added, "I take it you're not used to humans getting close?" Lyra's ears flicked slightly, a subtle sign of her amusement. "Humans are unpredictable. Your boldness is unusual, but not unwelcome." As night fell, they continued to work side by side, completing repairs that had baffled both human engineers and Zitharan scientists for months. With each adjustment, the core stabilized further, and the colony's energy grid returned to full capacity. When the last connections were secured, Ethan leaned back, stretching his arms. "That should do it," he said, satisfaction in his voice. Lyra studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "It's done. Efficiently. And without incident. You truly are remarkable." Ethan laughed softly, a mix of relief and pride. "I couldn't have done it without your guidance." A quiet moment passed between them. Ethan felt the weight of her gaze, and it made his heart skip. There was something unspoken in her expression, curiosity, admiration, perhaps even something more. He glanced at her, and she did not look away. "I've watched you work," she said quietly, "and I must admit, I am impressed." Ethan smiled, though he felt a nervous flutter in his chest. "I think I've learned a lot from you, too. Your precision. It's amazing how you notice everything." Lyra tilted her head, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the bioluminescent forest. "Perhaps we make a good team." The forest around them pulsed gently with light, as if acknowledging their words. For a moment they simply stood there, observing the strange harmony between human ingenuity and Zitharan discipline. The quiet hum of the repaired core filled the night, a testament to their combined effort. "You keep staring like that?" Lyra whispered suddenly, her voice almost lost in the soft wind. "And I might start to like it." Ethan blinked, caught off guard by the comment. He felt his cheeks warm, unsure whether to laugh or be embarrassed. "I guess I am staring," he admitted, trying to play it cool. Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "Curiosity is not a bad thing, human. It can lead to discovery and sometimes to unexpected connections." They shared a quiet laugh, and the tension eased. For the rest of the night, they talked about the colony, the forests below, and the challenges of combining human and alien technologies. Ethan shared stories of Earth, while Lyra explained Zitharan scientific methods, each learning to appreciate the other's perspective. By the time the first sun of the new day began to rise, Ethan realized that his mission had become more than just repairing a core. He had discovered a mind that challenged him, a presence that intrigued him, and perhaps the beginning of a bond that neither human nor alien had anticipated. Lyra, observing him with quiet amusement and genuine curiosity, knew that this human was different from any other she had encountered. His resilience, his creativity, and his unexpected warmth had begun to break through the walls of her scientific detachment. She wondered quietly to herself what other surprises this human might bring. As they parted that morning, Ethan headed back to the city's main hub, carrying not just the tools he had brought, but also a sense of anticipation for what the next day would bring. Lyra returned to her outpost, her mind unusually occupied with thoughts of collaboration and companionship. Both of them understood in their own way that this encounter was only the beginning. The floating city of Lumeris shimmered in the morning light, alive with energy and possibility. Somewhere amid the glowing forests below, two very different beings had begun a connection that might redefine what humans and aliens could accomplish together, and neither of them could quite ignore the spark that had started in the quiet moments between technical adjustments, careful observation, and shared laughter. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft hum of Lumeris beneath his quarters. The city floated above the forest like a jewel, the twin suns spilling golden light across the platforms and walkways. Despite the early hour, he felt energized, his mind already replaying the events of the previous day. He had fixed the energy core with Lyra's guidance, and yet, it was not the technical victory that lingered in his thoughts. It was her gaze, her presence, and the quiet way she had spoken to him. Ethan quickly dressed and made his way toward the lab, his steps eager yet cautious. He knew today they would begin work on a new project, a hybrid energy system combining human improvisation and Zitharan precision. The colony leaders had been impressed by the speed at which they stabilized the previous core, and they hoped that combining both species' approaches could revolutionize energy management across the floating cities. As he arrived, he saw Lyra already at the lab, reviewing holographic schematics that floated in the air around her. Her movements were graceful, her focus absolute. She looked up when he entered, and for a moment, their eyes met. A small smile curved her lips. Faint but unmistakable, as if she had been waiting for him. "Good morning, human," she said softly. "I hope you are ready for a long day." Ethan returned her smile. "I was born ready." He carried his tools to the work table, though he knew they would need more than mere tools. Today, they would combine their minds, intuition, and creativity. They began by reviewing the plans for the hybrid energy system. Lyra explained the Zitharan approach. Precision alignment of energy conduits, exact calculations of resonance frequencies, and careful monitoring of energy flow. Ethan listened intently, then suggested modifications based on human experience, small redundancies, improvisational energy loops, and adaptive circuits that could react to unexpected surges. At first, Lyra seemed skeptical. Zitharans valued exactness and foresaw little need for improvisation. Yet as she listened to Ethan, she realized that his methods, though unorthodox, addressed scenarios her calculations had overlooked. Slowly, she adjusted the design, integrating his ideas with her own. As they worked side by side, the lab filled with the quiet sounds of concentration. Tools clicking, holograms humming, and occasional bursts of laughter when a connection failed or a design needed adjustment. Their cooperation was seamless, a blend of human creativity and alien precision. Each step of progress strengthened their mutual respect, and an unspoken bond began to form. During a break, Ethan looked out over the forest below. The bioluminescent plants still glowed faintly, even in daylight, creating a dreamlike landscape. "It's amazing how alive this place feels," he said. "It's like the world itself is breathing." Lyra joined him at the observation window. "Zithara has always been like this. Our cities float, but the forests below are ancient. We learn from them if we pay attention." She paused, then added quietly, "I've noticed you pay attention. You observe details others overlook." Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he could not fully explain. "I guess it's just human curiosity. We notice things because we want to understand them, to make them better." Lyra's eyes softened. "And sometimes, understanding leads to connection." Her words lingered in the air, and Ethan felt the pulse of possibility between them. Returning to the lab, they resumed work with renewed energy. Hours passed as they aligned energy conduits, tested resonance frequencies, and adjusted circuits. Ethan marveled at Lyra's precision, the way she could sense the slightest fluctuation in energy flow. Lyra, in turn, was impressed by Ethan's intuition, how he could predict failures before they happened and improvise solutions that even her calculations had missed. Late in the afternoon, a sudden energy spike triggered alarms throughout the lab. Sparks flew from one of the primary conduits, threatening to destabilize the system. Ethan and Lyra reacted immediately, moving with practiced coordination. Ethan rerouted energy through backup circuits, while Lyra adjusted the resonators with flawless precision. The surge passed, and the system stabilized. They both breathed heavily, their faces flushed with the intensity of the moment. Ethan laughed softly, a mix of relief and exhilaration. That was close. Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. Yes, but we handled it well. Together. She paused, then added quietly, almost teasingly, You keep staring at the conduit like that, and I might start to think you enjoy danger as much as I enjoy observing you. Ethan felt his cheeks warm, unsure how to respond. I guess I do like seeing things solved, especially with a good partner. Her smile widened slightly, and for a moment, silence settled between them, filled only by the hum of the lab. It was a comfortable silence, one that carried understanding and anticipation. As evening approached, the hybrid system neared completion. Ethan and Lyra ran the final tests, monitoring energy flow and ensuring stability across all nodes. The system responded flawlessly, humming with a steady, controlled power that promised to transform the colony's energy infrastructure. When the last adjustments were made, they stepped back to admire their work. The hybrid system glowed softly, a symbol of cooperation between human improvisation and Zithran precision. Ethan turned to Lyra, his eyes reflecting pride and something more, admiration, curiosity, and a quiet connection that had grown over the past day. You did it, he said quietly. We did it. Lyra nodded, her eyes meeting his. Yes, we combined what is human with what is Zithran, and something stronger emerged. She hesitated, then added softly, And I am glad you were the one I worked with. Ethan felt a thrill of warmth. I'm glad, too. I didn't expect to find someone who understands this as much as I do. Lyra's gaze softened further, and she took a small step closer. Understanding is only part of it, she said quietly. Sometimes it is the connection, the willingness to work together, that creates something remarkable. For a moment, Ethan felt the world narrow to the space between them, the soft glow of the lab and the quiet pulse of energy beneath their feet. I think I'm starting to understand that, he said, his voice low but steady. Lyra's lips curved into a gentle smile. Good. Then perhaps this is only the beginning. They left the lab together as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and violet. The city of Lumeris glimmered around them, alive with light and possibility. Ethan realized that their collaboration had created more than a powerful energy system. It had created a bridge between two worlds, between two ways of thinking, and perhaps even between two hearts. Walking through the floating city, Ethan noticed how the lights reflected off Lyra's skin, the subtle shimmer of her movements, and the way her eyes lingered on him. He felt a quiet excitement, a sense of possibility that went beyond technology and strategy. You know, Lyra said suddenly, breaking the comfortable silence, if humans are always so curious, I can see why you are capable of so much. Ethan smiled. Curiosity can be dangerous sometimes, but it does help us solve problems. Lyra's gaze softened, and she took a small step closer. Perhaps some curiosity should be shared. Ethan felt a warmth, spread through him. "I'd like that," he said quietly. They reached the edge of the city, where a platform overlooked the glowing forest below. The bioluminescent plants pulsed gently, lighting the scene in shades of blue and green. The quiet hum of energy from the city and their recent work filled the air, a reminder of what they had accomplished together. Lyra glanced at Ethan, a faint smile playing on her lips. "You keep surprising me, human. And perhaps I am beginning to like it." Ethan's heart skipped a beat and he smiled back. "Then maybe this is the start of something remarkable." They stood side by side, looking out over the forest, each lost in thought. The hybrid energy system they had built would benefit the colony for years, but the connection they had forged, through trust, collaboration, and understanding, was something neither had expected. As night fell and the city lights shimmered beneath them, Ethan realized that Zithera was more than a distant colony. It was a place of discovery, not only of technology and science, but also of human spirit and connection. And in Lyra's presence, he felt the true potential of what humans could bring to alien worlds. Ingenuity, courage, and the ability to create bonds that transcended species, culture, and expectation. Lyra, watching him with quiet amusement and admiration, knew that the human before her was unlike any other. He challenged her, surprised her, and had begun to awaken something she had not felt in years. She wondered what tomorrow would bring, both in their work and in the connection that had quietly grown between them. The twin suns of Zithera had set, leaving the city bathed in soft, bioluminescent light. Somewhere amid the glowing forests below, two very different beings had discovered that collaboration could lead to innovation, understanding, and perhaps even the beginning of something more personal. And neither of them could deny the spark that had started in the quiet moments of shared work, mutual respect, and laughter. As they parted for the night, Ethan turned back one last time and caught Lyra's gaze. Her eyes held a mixture of curiosity, admiration, and something unspoken. He smiled, knowing that tomorrow would bring more challenges, more discoveries, and perhaps a deeper connection than either of them had anticipated. And with that thought, both returned to their respective quarters, hearts and minds filled with possibility, ready to face whatever Zithera and the future held for them.